everybody, it's Patrick with PDubs Crypto World. Alright, first off, one of the things I definitely appreciate everybody who checked out the more recent video on the simplification of the dilution strategy with the new profit trailer, well, not new, but the profit trailer buttons that they have accessible here. So, as I'm working in my programming, I'm kind of seeing a few things. So, I had a couple people ask me previously and never got around to addressing. So what happens when we get to a point where our coin has become a problem? We were diluting and it went astray. So today we're going to talk about that here. So I've been working on actively diluting 6 coins. Actually, I was diluting 16 coins. And between ups and downs in the Bitcoin and my dilution practices, which you can see was kind of extraneous. So now I'm in a situation where I'm only down to 6 coins that I need to dilute. And one of these coins here, this right here, XLM, is a dilution bag that had gone wrong. So as you can see in here, when we look at the pending orders, I do already have a total of like $31 and some change in here, so 262 of XLM. And every time I buy XLM, it's roughly around the 164, 167, 174 range, depending on the pricing. So I've seen it between 156 and 170. So every time I buy it and something happens with the bag, like we had an increase going up to 12.4 all the way down from like 11.6, and the prices fluctuated with it, and it got me caught in the bag. So my dilution attempt has now become a bag. So let's talk about when is the best time to handle this. So let's nip it in the bud here. We've been hovering at 12,000 for just a little while here, and I'm pretty confident that given the opportunity, we're gonna end up going a little bit further here in the hole. So to me, because I like to keep my stuff, my DCA is about a negative 2.75 before I flip over in here. I like to keep it down under that. So for me, this is a good candidate for re-dilution. And what that basically means is we're going to go ahead and just assimilate this in. So we're going to go to our, we're going to release any kind of fragment that we have as a part of this already, which we'll see here. I do not have one because it's already in the bag for the dilution. It's being diluted, and now that fragment has become another bag, and it's time to re-dilute. So we're going to go to our pending order, and then we're just going to go ahead and kill the pending order. But the reason why I want to say here is when you look at my bags here, most of them are in the 8, 10, all the way up to 27, which was 33. A lot of this right here, I like to keep my bags, if they're anything over 10 to 15, work on diluting them down. ETC has just not been good to me. You can see that I've got caught into a couple. That was one that I've been working with my program on. So one of the things that I like to do here is this is a good candidate for me here because it means I'm not going to have to break it into a tons of pieces, and I'm not going to have to dilute it to a point where I have to buy a lot in order to make it a lower percentage, because I like to have mine right around the negative 75. I don't like it to be over -1 when I dilute. So for re-dilution, I think it's a good thing to keep it at about half, if not less, than what the original is. So I like about 5 to 6 is a good candidate for re-dilution for me. And the reason is, when this goes back in there, you can see on your combined percentages here. So I have XLM, and even though it's 10.69, it's going to average out and give me a negative, almost -9. So it's not bringing it down a lot because this is about a 2 to 1 average on what's going in there. So you figure a little over 10 for 2 and then 5 for 1. It's going to give us a little under 9 average. So that just means that I'm going to have to work a little harder in bringing that in there. But if I'm confident that my price action isn't going to be too chaotic and I can get away with starting to re-dilute this is a better candidate for me because I'm going to break it into more pieces. So we'll go ahead and just, for re-dilution manually here, we're going to go ahead and we're already in ours. So now that we know that we want to be over this 5 point whatever we're going to do and assimilate it into the pending. So now we're going to go ahead and cancel the let's see, our XLM here, and it's going to send it packing back into our DCA. Is going to disappear for a moment here while it basically figures out its math. And we now see here it has a combined of negative 8.9 as well as 426 for our total. Now if we're going to do a regular, my buys are about a third of this. So if I was going to do that, I would say break this down by 10. So we're about 42 per percent. And because we're 3 times the amount here, we're going to do a third of the 10%. So 42 divided by a third, and that's going to be basically what we're looking at for a single percentage drop. So that 426 divided by 2 is 42.6, and if we divide that by 3, then we're going to be in the range of what, like 14? Yeah, I'm going to say probably about 14-ish. And 14 pieces is going to give us a single, we'd be looking at a 1% drop. So I want to go ahead and for the sake of this one here, I'm just going to be conservative. I want to go with a 5% here, a 5 piece. And that's not going to accomplish much because that means I'm going to have to dilute, what, like 90 times? Which isn't that big of a deal to me when I start getting up into bigger numbers here and bigger numbers here. Always be mindful that the larger your loss is or the larger your amount is the more pieces that you have to break it into. So re-dilution is not the best thing if you're trying to get through something quickly. But it does let you capitalize on pretty soft price action. So now we're going to go ahead and send this to the pending, and what, this is 988, so I'm just going to hoof it here. I'm going to call it 101. And that may be about, what, 1%? We'll see here in a moment. So now we're sending that to the pending order. And it should show up in here. I hope it's about 1%, or I'm going to look pretty goofy, huh? Where are we at here? And it should be XL. Nope, 2%. Wow, I'm way off the bar. Okay, so now that we have that in there, we can go ahead and XLM. It's pretty much low enough in my low BB that I run, which is not the best, by the way. We'll just go ahead and buy that. And we'll see what we get popped with in here. Manual buy action going, and then we'll pop in pairs. So we're at negative 3.1 there now, and then we're going to go in here, and then we're going to put in our reserved coin. Yeah, I haven't rebooted in a little while, which is only 5, and then we'll see what it is. So we're at negative 2 now, because we're on the increase, and it should probably be maybe like negative 7.7 somewhere in there. Let's see, once it pops in and calculates, yep, negative 0.64. So that's a way that you can keep it down lower. This is a lot easier to come back from a negative rather than a negative 1.5 or a negative 2. And then you can see after all the dilution that I've been doing, sometimes it's slower. I've been getting in some bags the last movement here, and I'm up here to where I'm just about where I started, and that's including everything that I'm holding in my bags, which you can see are not as bad as some of the ones out there. And but these are for testing purposes. So you can see, you know, I'm like 5 short there, 6 short there, 12 there. So it all adds up. So if you're asking yourself what is the best place to do this at, is when you start getting a number to where you're going to bring your average down significantly and you're prepared to break it into as many pieces as you need. Because as you can see, this is a good place. Your coins, most of the time, when you're buying them, may hit this just on the drop down. So starting out here, this is ideal for me because I can come back from a negative 0.75% loss and easily come back for a profit. And as I've said before, when you're diluting coins and you're trying to regain what you've already lost, it's a really good idea to keep it at a low price. So you can see here, 0.45 is my profit trigger, and I should probably even take it a little lower if I'm wanting to quick execution for low buy-in and low execution. So I hope this helped you guys. Definitely try to be manageable because it looks like we've got a lot of price action going on with Bitcoin nowadays. These past couple weeks we've seen a steady increase in it. So be mindful for sharp moves. Sharp moves are going to give you bags regardless unless you're out of them quickly. So in times of steady movement, don't overextend, don't over DCA, and as a common recommendation, do not dilute too many coins at once because when price moves sharply, you will have multiple bags of multiple bags. As you see, I've got 6 and I'm only working with 2. Slowly get them away, and then once you're in a spot where you have a decent portion of your entire portfolio back, then go back to trading and slowly add in some dilutions. Hopefully, here in the short term, I'll have a method for you guys to kind of automatically do this a little better. I know I've kept in touch with some of you, and some of you guys out there cheering for me still. I appreciate the support, guys. So definitely like, subscribe, pass it around if you know somebody using a dilution method that could use some helpful hints and some pointers on what you're actually wanting to do. These are common practices that I find work a lot better for me to be able to get in and dilute things regularly. So, and something to keep in mind once you can see a lot of the nanos, HCXBs, you know, I get in and I get out of these things pretty quickly. So, you know, sometimes we're going to hit those nice percentages, but sometimes we're just going to get out at a small price, but we've recaptured a piece of our fragment at a positive gain and prevented a loss on it. So, spread it around. Thank you guys for your support, and we'll talk to you soon.